Hey, what's going on, fam, and welcome to this video session. In this session, we're going to be discussing the topic, never settle. This is very, very important for students and young adults and even senior leaders, because if you have the ability to settle in your life, you will cause your organization, your class, your church, your business to settle. So there are three things that I write about in this chapter that are important to your life. Number one, you have to be able to set boundaries. This is very, very important. As a student in relationships, and even as you're leading an organization, you have to set boundaries. What is a boundary? A boundary is a defining line or border that restricts movement and controls what's going on the inside. So for example, if you're a student and you're desiring to set a boundary, you could set a boundary to study, but not study in your bed. Come on, somebody. I'm talking about your boundary is I want to study. I have to study in order to get this grade, but I'm not going to study in my bed, because when I'm in my bed, I'm more than likely going to go to sleep after I get done. So you can set that boundary. I will not cross the boundary of studying in my bed or studying in the living room. I'm going to study in a particular spot that helps me to engage more. I'm going to study in a particular spot that helps me to focus more. You got to set that boundary. Let's say you want to set a boundary in your relationship, and your boundary is I will not communicate with you disrespectfully, or I will not say foul language to you. That's my boundary. If somebody speaks to me in foul language, I can tell them, hey, this is my boundary. You will not cross that, because boundaries help to protect you and boundaries help to protect other people. One of the boundaries I have as a single man currently is that I don't speak to other young women or single ladies after 10 o'clock. Now, look, that's just me. That's my boundary. But what I found is when I set boundaries, boundaries show that I have two things: self-respect and self-love. When you take the time to set a boundary, it shows that you have love for yourself and respect for yourself. Now, as you start to set these boundaries, you're going to see that some people are not going to like the fact that all of a sudden you have boundaries. Because back yesterday, last week, but let me tell you something. Your boundary is your boundary. And when you decide that this is no longer applicable in my life, this is no longer worthy of my time, this action, this mindset is no longer applicable to me. It no longer qualifies to meet my standard. Hey, set your boundary and don't let anybody else cross your boundary. Your boundary helps you stay whole. Your boundary helps you stay safe. Your boundary keeps you towards your goal of graduating, getting that degree, getting that scholarship. Your boundary is going to help you maintain healthy relationships. You need boundaries. So number one, set boundaries. Number two, define non-negotiables. Man, this is a big thing, because growing up, I never had a non-negotiable. In relationships, never had them. In my educational pursuits, never had them. As a leader, I never had them. So thank you, God, what is a non-negotiable? A non-negotiable is like the cousin of a boundary. It's a standard you set, or a premise, or it's the best word I can say. It's a standard you set that says, if you do this, I do this. It's a non-negotiable. Let's say in relationships, and your non-negotiable is I cannot be in a relationship with somebody who smokes or who drinks. I will not be in a relationship with somebody who cannot effectively communicate their emotions. That's a non-negotiable. If I see you can't communicate, we're done. If I see you don't prioritize your own health, I can't even be your friend. If I see you don't prioritize your education, we cannot be friends. If you implement boundaries and non-negotiables, they will literally help you to determine who your friend should and should not be. I challenge you to ask your friends after you get done watching this, hey, what are your boundaries? What do you allow, or what don't you allow? What are your non-negotiables? What do you use to navigate and to determine who's in your life and who's not in your life, you can also use your non-negotiables in your educational pursuits. So let's say you're a high schooler and you're about to transition to college. Your non-negotiable could be, I will not go to school more than 6 hours away from my hometown. That's a non-negotiable. No matter what, I will not go. I will not go to a school or a college or university that is more than 6 hours away. That's a non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. I will not have a grade that's lower than a B. I will not have a grade that's lower than, that's a non-negotiable. I will do, thank you God for this, because what non-negotiables do, they help you to focus your energy. Once you have the courage to set a non-negotiable, especially in your educational pursuits, it will give you the drive and the focus to put all of your effort to getting that thing done. Let's say your non-negotiable was, I will not get less than a 4-year degree. That's fine. It's your non-negotiable. That means all of your efforts is going to be going towards completing that task, the thing that you set. So if your boundary is, I have to study before I can play, before I can have fun, it will fortify and fuel your non-negotiable. Your non-negotiable cannot be compromised. It will not be moved. It's set by you, determined by you. You're the only one who can set, manipulate, or change your non-negotiable around your life experiences, okay? So number one, the first thing we talked about was having a boundary, a protection, a wall that keeps you protected and keeps others out, or protects others and maintains your boundaries, a safety line for you and for others. The second thing we talked about so far has been setting your and defining your non-negotiables, the things that you cannot go without and the things that you will not live with. The third and last thing is defining and discovering, what are your standards? What are your standards in your life? What about your health and your wellness? What is your standard of living? What is your standard at home? Do you clean your room? Do you wash your clothes on a Wednesday and fold them on a Friday? Or what is your standard? I will not be less than this. Excuse me. I will not be less than this. My life will not be less than this. My grades will not be less than this. My leadership voice will not be less than this. I will speak. I will lead. I will develop. I will save. What is your standard in your financial goals? What is your standard? You set these things, the things that are so important about all three of the things we've spoken about today, non-negotiables, boundaries, and standards, is you set them. I've been one that haven't had them. I didn't have them growing up. I'm a 33-year-old man now. I'm just now, within the last couple of years, developing. This is my standard of life. I'm not coming down from that. This is my non-negotiable. This is my boundary. And if you don't like it, that's okay. If people aren't willing to accept you, your boundary, your non-negotiable, or your standard, that's okay. They're doing the job for you. Your standard will help reject unwanted people, opportunities, and events. You know what? My standard is I don't go out and get drunk. I don't go out and gossip. And so you will be able to say, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I can't go out with you guys. Why? Because of my standard. Because of my non-negotiable. Because of my boundary. You know what? I'm not involved in that type of stuff. I'm not involved in that type of foolishness. I'm sorry. You're an amazing person. We've been friends for years, but I've changed. I've changed. I've upgraded. You're still an amazing person. You're still great, but I've changed. I'm transformational. I'm a transformational leader now. I'm a chosen generation. I'm more self-aware than I was yesterday. So I've decided to do things differently. So here it is. I'm your man, Robert Van, your neighborhood strong man. My students call me Mr. Van, and I just want to encourage you: set your standards, set your boundaries, determine your non-negotiables, and go forward. Be a transformational leader, because as you set these things, other people around you will respect you or repel you. And then you'll determine if they were really for you in the first place. Again, I love you, and I'll see you. Thank you for being with me in this session, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless.